Right now, an electron in your brain is about to choose one of two paths. In our universe, it will choose path A, and you will continue watching this video, your attention fixed, your thoughts flowing in one direction. But the cold, astonishing mathematics of reality suggests something far more profound. In another universe, a perfect, indistinguishable copy of you is watching as that very same electron chooses path B. That version of you, at this exact moment, has just embarked on a subtly different life. Oh, diverging timeline. And it just happened again. And again. And again. This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie, though it feels like it, doesn't it? This isn't a philosophical thought experiment designed to merely provoke. This is a scientific interpretation, one of the most audacious and personally unsettling ideas ever conceived, emerging directly from the fundamental equations that describe our cosmos. It's called the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, and it posits something truly mind-bending. The seemingly solid reality you inhabit, the singular path you perceive your life to be taking, is not singular at all. It is constantly, endlessly, splitting into an infinite multitude of parallel universes, each one an equally real version of reality. And the most startling part? This process isn't just happening in distant galaxies or at the edges of black holes. It's happening inside you right now, with every quantum event, shaping not just the cosmos, but the very fabric of your existence. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is a beam of light, shining its way through an infinitely dense, endlessly branching forest. Every rustle of leaves, every falling acorn, every tiny, unobservable quantum interaction creates a fork in the path. In our traditional understanding, you simply take one path, and the others vanish, ceasing to be. But what if they don't vanish? What if, at every single fork, your consciousness also splits, and another version of you, an exact copy, continues down the other path? You, the one watching this, would only ever perceive your own journey, blissfully unaware of the countless versions of yourself walking through the alternate clearings, experiencing the sun and shadow of lives that just split away. You are navigating a single subjective journey. Yet objectively, all those other paths are just as real, just as vibrant, just as you. This idea sprang from the baffling heart of quantum mechanics, a realm where particles can be in multiple places at once, where light can be both a wave and a particle, and where reality seems to hesitate, waiting for an observation to decide its fate. For decades, physicists grappled with the measurement problem. How does a quantum system, existing in a ghostly superposition of all possible states, suddenly collapse into one definite state when we observe it? The dominant view, the Copenhagen interpretation, suggested that the act of measurement itself forces this collapse, but it never fully explained how or why. It felt like magic, a mysterious boundary between the quantum and classical worlds. Then, in 1957, a brilliant but ultimately tragic young physicist named Hugh Everett III, then a PhD student at Princeton, proposed a radically elegant solution. What if there is no collapse? What if, instead, every possible outcome of a quantum event actually happens? His theory, originally titled The Theory of the Universal Wave Function, posited that the universe's fundamental state, its wave function, never collapses. Instead, when a quantum system interacts with its environment, even something as simple as a photon bouncing off an atom, or an electron in your brain interacting with another, the universe itself branches. Every single time, all possible outcomes are realized, but in separate, non-interacting worlds. This branching isn't some mystical conscious act. It's a relentless, deterministic consequence of the Schrödinger equation, the bedrock mathematical formula that describes how quantum systems evolve over time. The subjective experience of collapse, of seeing only one outcome, is explained by a process called quantum decoherence. Think of it like this. When a quantum system interacts with its environment, say a tiny particle in your brain, it becomes entangled with it. This entanglement essentially scrambles the delicate quantum superpositions, causing the different branches of reality to become entirely independent and unable to interact. They are, for all practical purposes, cut off from one another, evolving in their own distinct, equally real universes. So, when that electron in your brain makes its choice, it's not really choosing in the way we understand free will. It's simply following the laws of quantum mechanics, laws that dictate that all its possibilities are realized. And because that electron is part of your brain, part of your very being, its quantum event triggers a split in your personal timeline. One you continues to watch this video, living out the consequences of that electron choosing path A. Another you, just as real, just as conscious, just as you, continues down a different path, having experienced the electron choosing path B. This isn't a metaphor for choices you make, like deciding what to eat for breakfast. It's far more fundamental. It's happening countless times per second, at the most minute, invisible scales of reality. Every photon that hits your retina, every chemical reaction in your neurons, every atom decaying in the distant cosmos, each one is a quantum event, constantly splitting and multiplying the fabric of reality. The universe isn't just vast, it's infinitely manifold, a constantly expanding tree of possibilities, where every single quantum interaction creates new branches. The aha moment here is profound. The vast cosmic idea of a multiverse isn't some far-flung theoretical construct confined to the distant reaches of space. It is a microscopic, intimate process unfolding within your very own skull, within your cells, within every particle that constitutes your being. You are, in essence, a nexus of infinite possibilities, a single thread weaving through an unimaginably complex tapestry of alternate lives. Every breath you take, every blink of your eye, every thought that flickers through your mind is accompanied by countless other versions of you, taking different breaths, blinking different blinks, thinking different thoughts, in universes that just branched away. It forces us to confront an astonishing truth. For every decision you didn't make, for every path you didn't take, there is a version of you living that exact reality. What if you had said yes instead of no? What if you had turned left instead of right? What if you had pursued a different career, lived in a different city, never met the people who shaped your life? The many worlds interpretation suggests these aren't just idle daydreams or forgotten possibilities. They are the lived experiences of countless other versions of you, existing in worlds that are just as real, just as vibrant, just as tangible as this one. Your life, as you know it, is but one single infinitesimally thin slice of an impossibly vast branching existence. The implications are staggering. If this is true, then the universe is far more expansive, far more personal, and far more awe-inspiring than we could have ever imagined. It transforms our understanding of reality, of choice, and perhaps most intimately, of ourselves. You are not just one person living one life. You are a symphony of selves, an infinite chorus echoing through the multiverse. And this is only the beginning of understanding the science of your alternate lives. To truly grasp the breathtaking scope of that infinite chorus, to truly see the countless versions of you echoing through an impossibly vast reality, we must first confront a truth far stranger than fiction. We must journey into the very bedrock of existence. This is where the rules we take for granted simply melt away. The quantum realm. This is where the universe reveals its most profound secrets, and where the possibility of alternate lives finds its most rigorous scientific footing. Imagine, if you will, something utterly fundamental, a single solitary particle, an electron perhaps, or a photon, a tiny packet of light. In our everyday world, you understand that an object occupies one place at a time. Your coffee cup is on the table, not simultaneously in the cupboard. You're reading these words here, not also on a beach somewhere. But at the quantum level, this fundamental rule breaks down in the most spectacular way. Particles don't behave like solid, singular objects until we look at them. Until then, they exist in a state of ethereal ambiguity, like a whisper in the dark that could be coming from anywhere. This isn't just a philosophical musing. It's an experimentally verified, repeatedly demonstrated fact of our universe. The most famous demonstration of this bizarre phenomenon is known as the double-slit experiment. Picture a screen with two narrow vertical slits cut into it. Behind this screen is a detector ready to register where particles land. Now, imagine firing those single particles one by one towards the screen. If these were tiny bullets, you'd expect them to go through one slit or the other, creating two distinct bands on the detector right behind each slit. Simple, logical, predictable. But that's not what happens. When we fire electrons at the slits, and we don't try to detect which slit each individual particle goes through, something truly astonishing occurs. Instead of two bands, the detector reveals an interference pattern, a series of bright and dark fringes, just like waves would create if they passed through both slits simultaneously and then constructively or destructively interfered with each other. It's as if each individual particle somehow went through both slits at once. It's a ghost in two places, haunting multiple rooms simultaneously, its presence spread out like a ripple on a pond. It's not just passing through one slit, then the other. It's passing through both. It exists in a superposition of states, a blend of all possible paths. This is the very essence of quantum weirdness. A single particle is like a spectral entity, a ghost that is everywhere it could be, until a spotlight is shone upon it. Its reality is not fixed. It is a wave of possibilities, a shimmering potential spread across space. You are, in a very real sense, witnessing the universe itself, hedging its bets, keeping all options open. But then, the mystery deepens. What happens if we try to observe which slit the particle goes through? What if we place a tiny detector right at the slits? The moment we attempt to pin down its location, the ghost vanishes. The wave of possibilities collapses. The interference pattern disappears, and suddenly, the particles behave exactly like those tiny bullets again, creating just two bands. The act of observation forces the particle to abandon its multipath existence and appear in just one spot. It's as if your gaze alone crystallizes its reality, making it pick a single route out of all the myriad options. This is not merely a quirk of subatomic particles. It is a fundamental characteristic of reality itself. It tells us that what we perceive as solid, singular existence is, at its most elemental level, a fluid dance of probabilities. Before observation, all paths are taken. All states exist. It's only when we interact with a system that it seems to choose one specific outcome. And this, my friend, leads us to the central, most profound mystery in all of physics. A mystery that demanded a radical solution. A mystery that ultimately gave birth to the astonishing idea of your alternate lives. The real question isn't, how can many worlds exist? The truly baffling enigma is, why do we only experience one? If the quantum math suggests that all possibilities are equally real, that the particle genuinely traverses both slits, that a system can exist in a superposition of states, like a cat that is both alive and dead simultaneously, then why does our conscious experience consistently present us with only a single definite reality? Why do we always find the particle in just one slit, the cat either alive or dead? This is what physicists call the measurement problem, and it has haunted the greatest minds for over a century. It's the point where the elegant, predictive power of quantum mechanics clashes violently with our everyday perception of reality. It's the glaring gap between what the equations say is happening and what we actually see happening. It presents a paradox so fundamental, so deeply unsettling, that it forces us to reconsider the very nature of truth and consciousness itself. And it is this very problem, this profound disconnect between quantum potential and classical experience, that led a brilliant reclusive physicist to propose an idea so audacious, so mind-bending, that it fundamentally rewrites everything you thought you knew about existence. An idea that posits not one, but infinite versions of you, living out every single choice, every single possibility, in a multiverse that is constantly, silently, endlessly branching. You just heard it, didn't you? That whisper of a possibility so grand, so intimately tied to your own existence. An idea of not one, but infinite versions of you, living out every single choice, every possibility, in a multiverse constantly, silently, endlessly branching. But who dared to utter such a heresy? Who looked at reality's paradox and proposed a solution so audacious it rewrote everything we thought we knew? His name was Hugh Everett III. In the mid-1950s, at Princeton University, this brilliant young physicist, barely out of his 20s, stood poised to unleash an idea that would be either revolutionary or madness. For decades, the greatest minds had grappled with the quantum riddle, the unsettling measurement problem we explored. How does a quantum system, in a ghostly superposition of all possible states, suddenly choose just one when observed? Why does the electron, poised to leap left and right, suddenly commit to a single trajectory the moment we look? The reigning orthodoxy, the Copenhagen interpretation, championed by Niels Bohr, offered a pragmatic, if unsatisfying, answer. The act of observation causes the wave function to collapse. This forces reality to pick a single path. But for Everett, this felt incomplete. It introduced a mysterious, non-physical observer into the equations, a cosmic arbiter that decreed reality. It was like saying a story only became real when someone read it, and all other drafts simply vanished. For Everett, this wasn't science. It was an awkward patch. Everett, with the fierce devotion of a true believer, looked at the mathematics, the beautiful, unyielding equations that described how quantum particles evolve through time. And he saw no collapse, not a single term, not a solitary symbol, suggested that the wave function ever stopped being the wave function. It simply kept evolving, inexorably, deterministically. So, what if the equations weren't lying? What if the universe wasn't choosing a path? What if it was taking all of them? This was his stunningly simple, yet mind-bending solution to the measurement problem. The universe doesn't collapse into a single reality. Instead, every time a quantum event occurs, every electron's wobble, every photon's journey. The universe itself splits, branching into parallel realities where every possible outcome is equally real. Imagine reality not as a single linear story, carefully edited by a cosmic author who erases every draft but the final one. Everett saw it as an infinite library, a cosmic library of Babel, where every conceivable sentence, every possible narrative, every permutation of existence is not only written but lived. This wasn't some wild, sensational idea concocted for a sci-fi novel. This was born from a ruthless devotion to the mathematics. Everett simply refused to add an arbitrary, non-physical rule, like wave function collapse, to the otherwise perfectly consistent and deterministic Schrödinger equation. This constant branching isn't triggered by conscious observation alone. It's happening billions of times per second, everywhere, driven by the most fundamental interactions of particles. It's a consequence of what physicists now call quantum decoherence, the process by which a quantum system, interacting with its environment, loses its quantumness and appears to settle into a single classical state. As physicist Bryce DeWitt, a later champion of Everett's work, famously described it, every quantum transition, taking place on every star, in every galaxy, in every remote corner of the universe, is splitting our local world on Earth into myriads of copies of you. So what does this mean for you? It means that every path not taken, every what-if scenario you've ever pondered, is not merely a hypothetical. It is a lived reality, playing out for another version of you, in another universe. What if you had taken that other job? What if you had said yes instead of no? But in the 1950s, this wasn't seen as profound. It was seen as outlandish. When Everett presented his groundbreaking doctoral thesis in 1957, the physics community, led by the formidable Niels Bohr, met it with overwhelming skepticism and outright dismissal. Bohr, in a famously tense meeting, was utterly opposed. Everett, a deeply sensitive and brilliant man, was devastated by the rejection. Disheartened and disillusioned, he made a tragic choice. He abandoned theoretical physics. He moved into military and industrial mathematics, applying his genius to operations research and missile trajectories, a far cry from the cosmic questions that had consumed his youth. It wasn't until the 1970s that physicists like Bryce DeWitt rediscovered Everett's work. DeWitt not only championed the theory, but also gave it its memorable name, the many worlds interpretation. Later, the development of quantum decoherence theory in the 1980s provided the crucial mechanism for how these worlds could branch, giving Everett's abstract mathematics a physical underpinning. The implications are staggering. If NWI is correct, then the universe you perceive is just one thread in an infinitely vast tapestry, one story in an endless library. Every moment, a silent cosmic bifurcation. Every decision, every random quantum flicker, a genesis of new realities. We are left to ponder, what does it mean to live a single life when countless versions of you are living out all the others? The many worlds interpretation doesn't just expand our universe, it expands you, scattering your existence across an unimaginable cosmic canvas. And perhaps in this infinite scattering lies a profound new understanding of your own significance, not as a solitary point, but as an integral part of an endlessly unfolding multiverse. We stand on the precipice of a staggering truth, you and I. Having glimpsed the cosmic bifurcation, the genesis of new realities from every decision, every random quantum flicker, we are left with a profound question. How does this infinite scattering, this expansion of you across an unimaginable cosmic canvas, actually happen. It's tempting, perhaps even comforting, to imagine that your conscious choices are the grand orchestrators of these parallel worlds. That with every significant decision, a new universe is born from your will. But the universe, in its elegant, indifferent logic, is far more subtle, and in a way, far more awe-inspiring. The multiverse isn't waiting for your choices. It isn't a consequence of your consciousness observing reality. Instead, it is the constant underlying state of reality itself, unfolding trillions of times per second, everywhere. We are simply passengers on a single branch of a universe that is ceaselessly, relentlessly splitting. The mechanism behind this ceaseless branching, this fundamental act of cosmic creation, has a name as beautiful as it is complex: quantum decoherence. It is the crystallizing wave, the moment possibility solidifies into countless separate realities. Imagine, if you will, a perfectly pristine ripple on a still black pond. This ripple, delicate and shimmering, represents a quantum system, existing in a state of superposition, a single entity holding all its possible outcomes simultaneously, like a ghost of every path it could take. This is the quantum world, fluid and uncertain, until it interacts with its environment. Now, picture that tranquil pond, not just feeling a gentle breeze, but being hit by a sudden, violent downpour. Each raindrop is a piece of the vast, chaotic environment. A stray photon, a nearby atom, a fluctuating electromagnetic field, colliding with the ripple. The moment this downpour begins, the pristine ripple is instantly scrambled, its perfect form obliterated by the incessant bombardment. The original unified ripple, once holding all its potential, becomes impossible to discern from the chaos. It is forced into one of many separate, distinct outcomes, each one an individual splash, a singular point of impact, no longer connected to the others. This, in essence, is decoherence. It's the physical process through which a quantum system, existing in multiple states at once, becomes inextricably entangled with its environment. Think of it like this: an electron in your brain isn't just one electron. It's a blurry cloud of possibilities, occupying every potential position simultaneously. But the moment that electron interacts with a single molecule, a single photon, its blurry cloud of possibilities becomes irrevocably linked to the state of that environment. It's like two dancers who at first move independently suddenly become locked in a tango. Their movements are now intertwined, one influencing the other. When this happens on a quantum scale, with countless interactions, the distinct states of the electron become so entangled with the vast number of particles in the environment that they effectively become separate, non-interacting branches of reality. This isn't an act of a conscious observer collapsing a wave function, as some earlier interpretations suggested. It is a purely physical process, an unavoidable consequence of the universe simply being. The environment, in its relentless activity, acts as a cosmic separator, constantly observing quantum systems in an unconscious, mechanical way. Every single quantum event, from a radioactive atom decaying to a photon interacting with a particle, to the subtle movements of electrons within your very cells, triggers this entanglement, this branching, and it is happening ceaselessly, countless times per second, across every single corner of the cosmos. The moment these branches form, they become, for all practical purposes, entirely inaccessible to one another. They are distinct, parallel worlds, each equally real, each pursuing its own unique, isolated trajectory. This revolutionary understanding didn't emerge easily. Its roots lie in the audacious work of a brilliant young physicist named Hugh Everett III. In 1957, while a PhD student at Princeton University, Everett dared to challenge the prevailing orthodoxy of quantum mechanics, the Copenhagen interpretation, championed by none other than Niels Bohr himself. The Copenhagen view posited something profoundly unsettling, that the quantum world existed in a state of fuzzy possibilities until a conscious observer measured it, at which point its wave function would collapse into a single definite outcome. This measurement problem was a gaping wound in the heart of quantum theory, implying that reality itself was somehow dependent on consciousness, a notion many physicists found deeply unsatisfying. Everett, in his groundbreaking thesis, Relative State Formulation of Quantum Mechanics, offered a radical yet elegant alternative. What if there was no collapse? What if the universal wave function simply continued to evolve without any external intervention? His solution was startlingly simple in its premise, yet mind-bending in its implications. Instead of collapsing to a single outcome, all possible outcomes of a quantum event are realized. Each outcome simply separates into its own distinct, non-interacting universe. Time, then, is not a single line, but a constantly branching tree, where every quantum interaction creates new limbs, new realities. His idea, however, was met with overwhelming rejection. Prominent physicists like Bohr actively dismissed it, finding its implications too fantastical, too far removed from their established understanding of reality. This initial bitter reception tragically led Everett to abandon theoretical physics, leaving his profound insights to languish in obscurity for years, a testament to the difficulty of breaking new ground against entrenched paradigms. It wasn't until the 1970s that Everett's work found a champion in physicist Bryce DeWitt, who passionately advocated for the theory, and, importantly, coined the more accessible and evocative term we use today, the many-worlds interpretation. But it was the independent development of quantum decoherence theory by physicists like H. Dieter Zea and Wojciech Zurek that truly revitalized MWI. Decoherence provided the crucial, concrete physical mechanism for how these worlds separate. It was the missing piece that transformed a radical idea into a scientifically plausible interpretation. Today, while still an interpretation and not a definitively proven theory, MWI enjoys significant, if not majority, support among physicists. As Bryce DeWitt famously described, every quantum transition taking place on every star, in every galaxy, in every remote corner of the universe, is splitting our local world on Earth into myriads of copies. What does this mean for you? If countless versions of you exist, living out every possible consequence of every quantum outcome, what defines your unique identity? If your consciousness only ever follows a single path through this branching tree, the MWI suggests that your free will, while profoundly meaningful, within your experienced branch, is simultaneously being enacted in every conceivable way across the multiverse. There is a version of you who took that other job, who never met your partner. One of the most startling implications comes from the quantum suicide thought experiment. With each trigger, the universe splits. In one branch, you die. In the other, you survive. From your own subjective perspective, you would always find yourself in the branch where you survive. These parallel worlds, once they have decohered, are for all practical purposes completely inaccessible and do not communicate with each other. The information within your branch is sealed. You cannot, to our current understanding, glimpse or interact with the other versions of yourself. It asks us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about reality. It whispers that your life, in its singular experience, is but one thread in an infinitely complex, endlessly unfolding cosmic tapestry, woven not by fate nor chance alone, but by the very fabric of quantum reality itself. The previous chapter ended on a note of profound, almost overwhelming awe, contemplating a multiverse infinitely grander and more populous than we ever dared to imagine. It whispered that your singular life is but one thread in an endlessly unfolding cosmic tapestry. But what if that awe gives way to something more unsettling? What if the implications of this infinite branching directly confront your most fundamental understanding of existence, of life and death itself? This is where the many worlds interpretation truly gets personal. Ionos shifting from abstract physics to the very core of your being, challenging every preconceived notion you hold about your individual journey. Tonight, we delve into the most personal, perhaps the most terrifying consequence of the many worlds interpretation, the chilling concept known as quantum immortality. Imagine, if you will, a hypothetical scenario, a thought experiment so stark it's been dubbed the quantum suicide machine. It's not real, not something anyone would ever build or endure, but its implications are devastatingly real for understanding the multiverse. Picture a peculiar device, a gun, but one with a unique trigger mechanism. This isn't a conventional trigger. It's hooked directly to a quantum event, say, the decay of a single radioactive atom. You know, the kind of event that, according to quantum mechanics, exists in a superposition. In this grim thought experiment, the gun is pointed at you. Each time the trigger is pulled, the quantum event occurs, a moment of cosmic decision. If the atom decays, the gun fires, instantly ending the life of the person in front of it. If the atom doesn't decay, the gun merely clicks harmlessly. You've just navigated the chilling depths of the quantum suicide thought experiment, grappling with the idea that your consciousness, from its own subjective vantage point, might be functionally immortal, perpetually surviving in one of an infinite number of branching realities. You've journeyed through the mind-bending concept of a cosmic library of Babel, where every possible story, every conceivable life, every single choice you might have made is not merely imagined but realized, playing out in an equally valid universe. The sheer, unfathomable scale of this multiverse, where every quantum event sparks new branches, new timelines, new versions of you, is almost too vast to truly comprehend. Yet, it happens, moment by moment, without cease, an ongoing, ceaseless act of cosmic proliferation. But if there are infinite universes, an endless cascade of realities, where every quantum possibility unfolds, it begs a profound question. Why this one? Why are you here, in this particular universe? A universe that seems so impossibly, almost miraculously, perfect for life to exist. Look around you, at the delicate balance that underpins your very existence. The universe you inhabit is a masterpiece of cosmic engineering, its fundamental constants. The speed of light, the strength of gravity, the charge of an electron, the precise mass of a proton, calibrated with an astonishing, almost unbelievable precision. If gravity were even slightly stronger, stars would burn out too quickly, collapsing before life could ever begin. If it were a fraction weaker, galaxies wouldn't form, and the raw materials for planets and people would remain scattered dust. The electromagnetic force, the strong nuclear force, the very density of the vacuum of space, each value seems perfectly tuned, a cosmic dial set to exactly the right notch for atoms to form, for stars to ignite, for complex chemistry to emerge, and ultimately, for you to draw breath. This incredible cosmic harmony has long puzzled scientists and philosophers alike. It's what we call the fine-tuning problem. For decades, it has felt like humanity won the ultimate cosmic lottery, beating odds so astronomically long that they defy imagination. Imagine a lottery where there aren't just millions, but quintillions of possible number combinations, and only one single ticket guarantees a win. And you, against all conceivable logic, are holding that winning ticket. It feels less like luck and more like a miracle, a divine intervention, a universe designed specifically with life, and perhaps even with you in mind. And so, the journey through the branching realities brings us to the most profound, the most intimate, and perhaps the most important realization of all. We've unraveled the mind-bending truth that your life, the one you are living right now, is not a solitary journey through a predetermined cosmos. Instead, it is one thread among an infinite number of threads, each representing a version of your existence, each equally real, all woven into the grand, unfathomable fabric of the multiverse. It's a concept that demands we reconsider everything we thought we knew about reality. And as you sit here, contemplating this dizzying cascade of realities, remember that the electron in your brain, the very quantum events that underpin your thoughts and observations, are not just happening in this universe. They are happening in countless others, each choice, each interaction, each flicker of possibility, spawning yet another version of you, another life, another story, all playing out in the grand, ceaseless cosmic lottery. It is an intricate, awe-inspiring dance of existence, and you, in all your infinite forms, are at its very heart. But here is the breathtaking paradox, the whisper that cuts through the cosmic roar of infinite possibilities. Even if countless versions of you exist across an endlessly branching tree of universes, this is the only life this you will ever experience. This specific thread, this unique sequence of moments, this particular consciousness at reading these words, it is singular. While the many worlds interpretation posits that every quantum event creates new branches and every possible outcome is realized in separate, non-interacting worlds, the version of you immersed in this very instant is experiencing this reality alone. Those parallel worlds are, for all practical purposes, completely inaccessible. You cannot reach them. You cannot observe them. You can only live this one. Think of it like this. Your life, the one you are living, is a unique sculpture. Imagine a pristine block of marble, full of untold potential, waiting to be shaped. The very idea of the many worlds interpretation tells us that this block of marble could have been carved into infinite other forms. A soaring eagle, a tranquil human figure, lost in contemplation, a vibrant, abstract burst of energy. Each of these potential sculptures exists in its own reality, a testament to the myriad paths that could have been taken, the countless decisions that could have been made at every strike of the chisel. In one universe, you picked up that book instead of going out. In another, you said yes instead of no. In yet another, you never even started this video, choosing a different path entirely. Each of those yous has their own unique sculpture, carved by their specific choices and quantum outcomes. But the knowledge that the same block of marble could have been carved into infinite other forms doesn't diminish your sculpture. It doesn't make the one you are creating any less significant. On the contrary, it makes the specific choices that shaped it, the precise blows of the chisel, the delicate lines and powerful curves that define its form, all the more profoundly important. This unique form, your life's sculpture, is the only one this you will ever know. It is your masterpiece, forged by a unique sequence of quantum events and personal choices that, in this universe, have culminated in this precise moment. This is the aha moment we've been building towards. The profound truth that emerges from the dizzying heights of the multiverse. The existence of other worlds, of countless alternate lives, doesn't make our choices meaningless. It makes them the only thing that defines the singular reality we get to experience. Imbuing this life, this moment, with ultimate, undeniable importance. If every possibility unfolds, if every what-if scenario plays out in some distant, inaccessible reality, then the what is, the choices you do make, the actions you do take, the person you become in this specific universe, becomes the most precious thing of all. Consider the weight of this understanding. If the universe is constantly branching, creating new realities with every quantum measurement, then every decision you make, every path you choose, is not just a single step in a linear journey. It is a declaration. It is the definitive act that sculpts your unique reality, separating it from the infinite others. The you who chose differently is real, yes, but that reality is not yours to inhabit. Your consciousness, your very sense of self, is tethered to this one irreplaceable journey. This perspective offers a powerful resolution to the so what problem that often arises with such abstract theories. It matters because your life, your decisions, your experience are the only ones available to this version of you. This interpretation forces us to confront fundamental questions about free will and identity. If there are infinite copies of you, each living out every conceivable permutation of choices, what defines your unique identity? It is precisely the sum of the choices made here. It is the laughter shared, the tears shed, the struggles overcome, the love found, the mistakes regretted, the lessons learned, all within the confines of this single precious timeline. The concept of quantum decoherence, where a quantum system's superpositions are scrambled by interaction with its environment, can be seen as the ultimate sculptor, solidifying one path as your path, making it distinct and separate from all the others, forever. And what of responsibility? If every possible outcome happens, does that absolve us of the consequences of our actions? The answer, from the perspective of this singular experience, is a resounding no. Because while other versions of you might have made different choices, it is this you who bears the weight and beauty of these choices. It is this you who feels the joy, the pain, the triumph, the regret. The knowledge of infinite possibilities doesn't diminish the impact of your actions in this world. Rather, it underscores their profound significance. It elevates every moment, every interaction, every decision into an act of creation, shaping the unique and irreplaceable tapestry of your existence. This awe-inspiring scientific framework, born from the often misunderstood depths of quantum mechanics, ultimately brings us back to ourselves. It reminds us that while the cosmos may be infinitely vast and endlessly branching, the individual human experience, in its exquisite specificity, holds unparalleled value. It is a call to presence, a profound urging to embrace the life you are living, the person you are becoming, and the choices you are making, with an intensity and gratitude that only the knowledge of infinite alternatives can truly inspire. Because this moment, right now, with this consciousness, in this particular branch of the cosmic tree, is all you have. It is your one magnificent, undeniable reality. So, as we stand at the precipice of this astonishing truth, contemplating a universe far stranger and more beautiful than we ever imagined, what meaning will you forge in the unique sculpture of your singular life? Join us next time on Celestial Enigmas as we continue to explore the universe's greatest mysteries. Subscribe now to journey deeper into the fabric of reality with us.